It's interesting because from my experience of my relationship with my mom and dad, my mom was always my emotional rock. I felt very comfortable and safe to go to her to express my feelings. But my dad, now they had a traditional dynamic. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She did interior design work, so she would, go over to the neighbors and get hired by a bunch of people in the neighborhood to redo their home. She still does that to this day. She did some people's hair. She's an incredible cosmetologist, still the only person who's ever touched this wig right here. But my mom was a traditional, stay-at-home mom for me and my three siblings. And when I think about our dynamic at home, it was very much my mom was the CEO of the household. She made sure that everything got done and she was brilliant at it. I mean, she really could be the CEO of like a Fortune 500 company easily because she's extremely organized, always gets things done right on time. It's to the highest standard ever. Like I remember when I was a little girl, whenever we would have lunch, it would be in these lunch boxes with an Etch-a-Sketch in it. And my mom would write these little notes, like she'd draw a picture and say like, I love you, sweetie. And then she'd give like amazing snacks that all the kids were jealous of. So my mom has always just been incredibly good at whatever she does, including motherhood. Our parties were the most extravagant. She'd make these huge centerpieces and our party invitations that she would make by hand, make 3D elements like a monkey swinging from a tree in this invitation that she'd mail out to people. She was just famous within our school system and our community system for being like the highest quality, top-notch Girl Scout troop leader mom. And that's what I had in the household. I had my mom as like a constant rock and source of emotional support. Now, how was that possible? Because my dad was a provider. My dad was working as a CFO at a casino, and he worked very hard and basically wasn't there very often. So we would all have dinner together at the same time every night. Sometimes my dad would come home late and my mom would, leave his food in the microwave and heat it up and join him for dinner. But I just remember that in the dinner dynamics, which I love and cherish because now as a working adult, I can understand how much sacrifice and planning it took for my dad to even physically be at the table. Like imagining being, working all day from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at a casino, probably even earlier than that, and then coming home truly exhausted and joining us all for dinner. I now have empathy and compassion for why my dad wasn't emotionally present. My dad was physically present, but was not emotionally present because he probably didn't have the energy to be. Whereas my mom, who was at home, and doing, side jobs, interior design, people's hair, she had enough energy and capacity to hold that emotional container for me and my three siblings. But of course, at the time, when you're going through your childhood and you're experiencing it, I don't know that. I don't have the worldview that I have today where I can realize that my dad was doing the best he could. My dad was providing all the resources for our family to thrive, and he was showing up in the way that he knew how that his father had modeled for him. And when I look back on my childhood, I can recognize that why I spent so much of my life being really afraid and uncomfortable expressing my emotions to men is because I never did that with my father. And that's not his fault at all. And it's not my fault at all. The space just simply wasn't there. He didn't know how to do it. And I forgive him. There's honestly nothing to forgive. It's just somebody playing out the dynamic that was put in front of them for their entire childhood and saying, you know what? I want to give my kids everything I can. I want them to have a life a little better than mine. So I'm going to work my ass off, provide this container. And then I know my wife has got me. I know my wife would be able to hold the emotional space for our kids. That's what I was raised in. Now I recognize how that affected my dating life. This is the through line that I'm connecting here. As a woman who did not have an emotional connection with her father. Now, don't get me wrong here. He went to all of my sports games. He showed up physically. He was there and he was present and he was doing the best he could. But I did not go to my dad for emotional topics. I didn't tell my dad when someone made fun of me in school or when I was having struggles with my friends. We didn't have that connection. He didn't know how to hold that space. So I had an outlet for that in my mom. But because I didn't have my dad throughout my childhood to be there as an emotional rock, whenever I would go on dates, my default with men was showing them everything I was doing, because that's how I connected to my father. My father valued my grades. He valued how I was doing in sports. He valued all the things that were happening in my school day where I was impressing everyone and showing up and being top of my class. So what I learned was that my dad, the most important man in my life, valued me for what I was doing, not who I was being. Now that blueprint, that energetic blueprint that was created in my childhood, carried over to my dating life until I saw it and healed it. Because what I would do was, first of all, because I'm somebody who's disconnected from even seeing men as a place that can be an emotional container of safety for me, I was showing up trying to impress men, trying to win them over, trying to convince them that I'm worthy of being chosen. All of what I just said is masculine energy. So my imbalance was severe when I was dating. Now, what's funny is that if I got past, and I talked about this before, a lot of the time, because I'm very entertaining and wacky and I have like a big personality and I'm really engaging to talk to, men would like lock it down with me really fast. So I didn't go through a lot of dating experiences. I didn't date like a normal person. And so a lot of the time men didn't know that this dynamic was there. And then once I was comfortable with them, which the title of being together, of being my boyfriend, made me emotionally comfortable, that's when I would bring out my more relaxed side. And then they'd be like, oh, wow, like I really like you as a person. But when I realized that I was settling because I was afraid of men and just allowing any old man to choose me and be like, oh, I like you. You want to be my girlfriend? I'm like, sure. Once I realized I was doing that, when I started dating normally again, which means going out on dates without having sex, getting to know men for who they are, understanding and feeling into the dynamic in your body, and then you as a woman choosing whether or not you want to continue. When I started that journey is when I realized, oh my gosh, even though I'm aware of everything I just told you, I still notice myself needing to fight to earn the man. And in that very moment that I made that realization of everything I just told you, I was like, I need to do a lot of healing into getting back into my own feminine energy. I need to unlearn all of the masculine patterns that I've developed over my entire life and feel so comfortable showing up to a date, having it be low stakes, having it not be anything important or life or death, not being scary. And I don't even really need to tell them who I am or what I've done. I don't need to prove anything to these men. I just have to show up and they are grateful to be in my presence because I am amazing. My energy is juicy and alive because I let them feel it. I don't have to win them over with all my very impressive thoughts and ideas. Those are in there. And if they get to know me and earn me to flip the script, then they'll see all of these beautiful, impressive thoughts and ideas of mine. But I don't need to lead with that. What I realized, just to finish this out, is that when I was dating in the more masculine energy, what you attract is the opposite of the energy when it comes to masculine and feminine, because people can feel that energy within you. It comes through in behaviors, right? So if you are a woman in her masculine, who I have always wanted a more masculine man, I have always wanted to be just like kind of a passenger princess in my relationship where the man's setting the frame and he's pushing the ball down the field and I just show up. I knew I always wanted that, in my heart of hearts. But like I was saying, I was not creating the space to fall into my dynamic. I was too nervous and anxious about what was going on and about being chosen, about doing everything right, about performing, about being perfect, that was taking over me just being able to be fully comfortable in my own energy and then knowing that the man's got me. So I'll stop there because I covered a lot there and I want to hear from my darling. Thank you so much for watching that clip. I hope you enjoyed it and felt a little love or joy sprinkled into your day. If you want to watch another one, you can go here, here, or somewhere all around here. I hope you have a great day. Bye. Love you.